the owner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Gave him a big old hug, good old handshake, and then kissed the Eagles logo.
There were television cameras. Listen, Nash, there were television cameras around. Of course, if you take a look at LaShawn McCoy, he's going to do anything to better his popularity.
Ugh.
I'm just curious, is this publicity? Come on, there were cameras all around. It's a Kodak moment. It can be documented for ages. Of course he is going to give the embrace. But go ahead.
What is he telling his current team though when he kisses the logo of the Philadelphia Eagles? What is he telling all those fans in Buffalo who are going to his all-girl parties that he has during the offseason? What is he telling all those people who support him wearing the red, white, and blue?
Wait. So he's wearing red, white, and blue, and he's kissing a green and white Philadelphia Eagles logo at midfield. You know what?
Yes.
I don't know what he's saying, but I'll say this. It's time to move on. That's part of the business aspect of the NFL, LaShawn McCoy. You got to move on. You're not part of the Philadelphia Eagles anymore. Look, if you want to acknowledge Jeffrey Loria, if you want to acknowledge everybody else at the Philadelphia Eagles, that's fine. You had so many great memories there. There's nothing wrong with reminiscing, having a few laughs. But as far as the Philadelphia Eagles go, you're not a part of that organization. You're not a part of accomplishing the ultimate goal with them. Focus on the now. Focus on the Buffalo Bills. You don't need to be kissing the logo. I completely think, Nash, I think that was stupid. I mean, that really was, because I know Philadelphia meant a lot to LaShawn McCoy. I know he was not happy leaving Philadelphia. But still, how ridiculous is it that you're going to kiss the logo of the other team? I've never seen anybody kiss a team. Actually, I'll take that back. I'll give you a short story here. Michael Jordan, 1994. He had been retired a year. This was months before he returned to the game of basketball. Chicago Stadium had closed in 1994, and Scottie Pippen had a charitable basketball game. Michael Jordan returned for that game, and he gives a kiss to the Bulls the Bulls logo at Chicago Stadium. I can understand that, but LaShawn McCoy, did this make a lot of articles in Philadelphia? I hope it did, and Buffalo. I would be. I don't blame them. Right. It can't be. It can't be. No, it cannot be. My goodness. If it's about you, then I'll say this. You don't deserve to go anywhere in terms of having ultimate success, because in the end, this has got to be a team concept here. And here's what bothers me, Nash, is that some guys do make it about themselves. I hate it. There are guys I have great respect for in professional sports because they make it about the team. They make it about the goal of having a unit and meshing together. But if you're going to make it about yourself, I wish you doom and gloom. Complete doom and gloom.
Absolutely, and that's just what's happened. Is that they have totally made it about who he is, as well as this concept of like. It's hard for me to understand the NFL players these days, because you get all these people who do pretend and behave as if it's like him, and we had a caller who called for a second and then dropped, so I don't think he's with us, but he might be. Let's go ahead and try to merge him in really quick.
If not, he's here with us in spirit.
Caller, you with us? Okay. He doesn't appear to be with us at this point. So
let me ask you a question. Let me ask you one quick question.
Uh-huh.
Did LaShawn McCoy by any chance in his jersey pants, did he pull out any lipstick and put it on his lips?
No.
Did he put out? I'm just curious if he did put some lipstick on and just then kiss the logo so he can leave his a lip imprint at midfield.
No, he hasn't gotten that far, and if he does, we'll see what happens at that point. He's one of these types of people that is very polarizing, and it's like a little all-girls party that he had in the off season that caught everybody by surprise. Because I mean, does that scream "slip me some ecstasy" or what? I've never seen anything like it, and now he's becoming as big as his like little persona and entourage sort of like rap persona is and. The fact that his nickname is even Shady, it makes it even worse.
Shady?
And this public image that goes along with NFL players goes right over to the Seattle Seahawks. As we transition to our next game, Seattle versus Baltimore. We have a quarterback who, Russell Wilson, seemed like this humble yet easygoing, guy right out of college. And he was drafted in the 3rd round. And he's just like, I'm all about team. I'm all about, making sure that the Seahawks win. Go Hawks, yada, yada, blah, blah, blah.
I love it.
Yeah.
So we go from Sean McCoy to talking about Russell Wilson here, which I love talking about. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate Russell Wilson.
But that's just it. I'm thinking from what we saw of him during the offseason and his like, we go to charitable organizations and we enjoy doing this. And now then it's like, okay, now instead of like being part of like going to kids' hospitals and stuff like that, which he still does, he's now in Rolling Stone magazine lying on the couch, trying to look as sexy as possible, wearing a wife beater, making $22 million a year, and going to private islands off the coast of Mexico with during his bye week when other players are hanging out in the hospital for Ricardo Lockett with a broken neck. He's sitting there hanging out with Ciara with his entourage and photographers who are literally coming with him on vacation. And I'm like, this is not the same Russell Wilson that we once had. But I'm kind of glad it's not the same Russell Wilson we once had, because this Russell Wilson is lights out on the field. As the last 4 games, he's thrown 16 touchdowns and is literally 0 interceptions with 131.8 quarterback rating. You cannot beat that with a stick. This guy is all over the place, and he's playing the most phenomenal football of any quarterback on a 4-game stretch in the history of the NFL.
How about this, Nash?
Yes.
The Seattle Seahawks have won 6 of 7 games. Now, early on in the season, really until about, I'd have to say throughout the months of September and October, we had the Seattle Seahawks, or at least I did, had the Seattle Seahawks pretty much dead. They're not going to go anywhere. They're not even going to make the playoffs. They're not going to win the division. Look, that's the Arizona Cardinals division to win, clearly. But the Seattle Seahawks, if they can get into the playoffs, I am telling you right now, this is perhaps the one team I might not want to play out of the 2 wildcard teams, because Seattle, they've been in the Super Bowl the last 2 years, having won it 2 years ago. You mentioned about Russell Wilson, what he was able to do. But on top of that, the Legion of Boom have found their...
I like that.
Yeah, I'll do it one more time. Legion of Boom, 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 Boom. Legion of Boom. They have found their stride once again. And, of course, you have Cam Chancellor. I mean, thank God for the Seahawks fans that holdout completely came to an end. This team, I am convinced, can make some noise in the playoffs against teams such as Carolina, teams against Arizona. Oh, by the way, Arizona and Seattle, you do know that the last week of the season, January 3rd, they're playing the Arizona Cardinals in Arizona. I believe that's in Arizona. Correct me if I'm wrong here. I believe it's in Arizona.
It's in Arizona on week 17. It sets
you can
the
ask
stage for a better game ever, and I can't even believe it's not even on prime time.
It might be. Hold on. No, hold on. It could be. The NFL does have. I know what you're talking about. The Sunday night football NBC flex policy.
Yeah.
Games have to be flexed, Nash, within 2 weeks of the game being played, with the exception of week 17.
Oh.
Week 17. Yeah. The week 17 game, which is the only nationally televised game, is the NBC Sunday night game. All the games are played on Sundays. That game is flexed 1 week before it's actually played. So we will know come December 28th on whether or not that Seahawks-Cardinals game will be on NBC. And by the way, Arizona, they must be leading the league in NBC games, because they're on a flex game next week against the Philadelphia Eagles.
And the week before against Minnesota. Thursday Night Football.
No, I'm talking about it. I know they're on Thursday Night Football. Well, they've had a lot of national TV appearances, but I'm talking about something about NBC.
That's
NBC
true.
All right, the Seattle game was the first time the game in Seattle that was on NBC. Then they were flexed of the Cincinnati game that was on NBC. So you're looking at maybe 4 games on NBC if this game is flexed to Sunday Night Football, which would not surprise me.
NBC will have to stand for no more Cardinals. Hold on a second. We got a caller calling in from the 910. Caller from 910. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on the Panthers-Falcons game this past weekend.
Okay, hold on just a second. We're going to be going to that right after break. Actually, we're going to be doing San Francisco and Cleveland first. And if you want to go ahead and call back after we're done there, I'd love to chat with you about Atlanta and Carolina.
So would I.
Sounds good.
Thank you, sir. So, you're absolutely correct, and it's a little bit of Cardinal overload for me because I'm a Seahawks fan. The last thing I want to do is actually talk, too much about the Arizona Cardinals because they're having a fantastic year, but I honestly do believe they're a bit of a paper dragon, one of those that get to the playoffs looking really good, right, and then lose in the first round, or in this case, it'll be a second round because I think they'll have a first round bye to whoever they host. And that's not, it only leads for a disappointing situation, especially right now with the fact that Chris Johnson is out and their running game is starting to look tipsy-tovey. You don't quite know what you're going to get, and you got a quarterback who hasn't been to the playoff in 6 years?
Yeah, Carson Palmer.
Yeah.
Who, of course, with the year he's having, it's kind of like Drew Brees, I guess, because don't many people realize that Drew Brees did play with the San Diego Chargers. That's where he was for a good number of years. It's almost as if some people don't realize that, like they would with Carson Palmer. He's with the Arizona Cardinals having all the success now, but people got to realize that he was with the Cincinnati Bengals, the Oakland Raiders. There were stops along the way for Carson Palmer before hitting the jackpot with the Arizona Cardinals here. And we're talking about the Cardinals being on national TV so much. I got to think back to my childhood. And I remember the Cardinals when they were in St. Louis until the late 80s, in which they moved to Arizona. I'll be honest, outside of Jake Plummer, many people probably could not name an Arizona Cardinal player of the 1990s and into the early part of the 2000s. Because this was arguably, Nash, the most depressing franchise in all of the NFL.
It was.
They were playing in a college stadium. They had no identity. As a matter of fact, their identity could have been in
Larry
Los
Centers.
Angeles.
There you go. That was about the only guy that I thought was worth a dang, was a fullback that could catch out of the backfield. Larry Centers, a really good guy. Before that, it was Neil Lomax. But
Neil Lomax?
Right. In this whole day and age, we got the mobile quarterbacks and everything else along those lines. It was like a completely different team. The Cardinals were just boring, and until that Pittsburgh,
but they have somebody to mark it off of. They have Larry Fitzgerald. They never had a guy. Listen, they never had a guy that could be a marketing tool, that could be your franchise player, that can give your franchise a name. The Arizona Cardinals never had that. They do in Larry Fitzgerald.
They do. We got to get to the next game really quick, and then we'll go to break. It's San Francisco versus Cleveland. There's really not a lot to talk about this, aside from the fact that, is Manziel for real? I think he is.
Manziel's for real. You're going to base it on one game? I
need
more convincing.
Take a look at his entire body of work. He has over a 90 quarterback rating. And before this game, he threw for 370 yards against, I think it was Baltimore, about 4 weeks back. And that's, this guy is, if he were a rookie, which he's only 1 year away from being a rookie, but if he were a rookie, everybody would be going nuts about him. But because of all the off-the-field baggage and all the other stuff, nobody's getting all excited about him. But take a look at it. He has less experience than Winston, Jameis Winston, or Marcus Mariota, but he's performing at their level. That's the way I see it.
Look at the schedule here, Nash. Seattle. I mean, obviously you're going to pay close attention to that game. That's Sunday in Seattle. Then they go to Kansas City. I'm talking about the Cleveland Browns here. So they're on the road against the Seahawks, then the Kansas City Chiefs. They close the season at home against the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's a tough stretch to handle. And the Cleveland Browns, look, Mike Pennon, he's going to be out the door. There's going to be a new regime heading into 2016.